When not commenting on Kate Middleton's curves, Shobhaa likes to pass infantile, ill-informed insults against Indian athletes competing at Olympic Games. After another unproductive and heartbreaking day when Abhinav Bindry missed the podium by a whisker and our hockey team conceded a last-gasp goal to lose against Germany despite dominating the match, the Pulp Fiction writer and peddler of puerile commentary came out castigating Indian sportspersons for trying to take selfies more than winning medals at Rio. It was rightly rebutted by Beijing Olympic Games gold medalist Bindra, Olympians Viren Razkina, and Jwala Gudda, and a host of other notable individuals including actor and app member Gulpanag. It would have been best to ignore his trivial accusations. She represents an entire cottage industry of socialites who work the media and know how to stay in headlines. Her frivolous statement only reflects her profound ignorance of how athletes perform or what motivates them towards excellence. But she is also part of a larger problem. It represents a large section of Indian populace who are impatient to see Indian athletes succeed but have no patience to understand why we repeatedly fail. Viewed in another way, her comments are not a reaction to the perceived poor performance of our athletes but a counterbalance to the frothy, unreasonable hype routinely built up by Indian media before each edition of Olympic Games through rosy predictions. Had we not been so blinded by unrealistic expectations, we would have realized that India is making slow but reasonable progress. For instance, while 56 Indian athletes qualified for 2008 Beijing Olympics, the number was 83 for the 2012 edition in London. And in Rio this year, we have sent 118 athletes, including in disciplines like swimming and gymnastics where no Indian existed before. Overwhelming factual evidence suggests that our fractional success at Olympic Games so far has come despite government interference, through a combination of personal enterprise and grit, yet as a nation, we fail to own up to our responsibilities towards that collective failure and reflexively believe that the government has the answer to all our ills, including lack of sporting excellence. And hence, like an ostrich, we shall bury our heads deep in sand and pretend that government programs like Target Olympic Podium Scheme, TOP, and hiking up of sport budget are enough to help us gain that elusive medal. There is no denying that India has historically been an underperforming nation in pan-continental multi-sport events. We have been taking part in the Olympics since 1900 and have only won 26 medals so far, which comes down to one medal for 383 million people. Some poor African nations like Kenya and Ghana are much better in comparison. One of the bewildering questions that routinely grapple us is how a billion-strong nation can fail to produce even one gold medal-winning talent. Some academic studies have suggested the total population of a country is irrelevant when it comes to Olympic medal tallies, but that rather what counts is the part of a population that participates effectively in sports. And Radhakrishnan and Eric Hagland argued in a 2008 report in EPW that Olympians are drawn, not from the entire population of a country, but only from the share that is effectively participating. Low medal tallies can arise both because a country has very few people and because very few of its people effectively participate. Other studies, like Who Wins the Olympic Games, Economic Resources and Medal Totals, published in the Review of Economics and Statistics, 2004, by Andrew B. Bernard and Megan Arbus show that a large population allied to high GDP per capita is the best predictor of Olympic success. Then, there are intangibles such as lack of sporting culture. During an illuminating conversation just after the Beijing Olympics, seven-time Olympian and tennis icon Leander Paes explained to First Post how India's lack of excellence is tied to the apathy of the middle class which finds no merit in sports. Parents of this large, more or less affluent section of populace force their wards to pursue academics. Sports psychologist Madhulika Kulkarni, founder of the Elshas Center for Excellence in Delhi, was quoted by Euronews as saying, "Parents here have the authority to take the decisions in their child's life." Especially post-independence, Indian parents gave a lot of importance to academics and sport was considered as a time-pass activity or just for recreational purpose. Although we have the best of the academic schools and universities, we do not have good sports facilities and good sports academics. Then, there are straw-man arguments. Any discussion around India's repeated failures at Olympics invariably center around how cricket hogs all limelight and other sports are left struggling for sponsors. Yet, we never pause to reflect on the reason behind it. As a sponsor, would you splash money on a sport or sportsperson who has little chance of success? If there is one thing cricket has shown, the only discipline where we have a measure of international glory, it is that government interference, where apathy is high and accountability dangerously low, is antithetic to sporting success. Private bodies like the BCCI can use the market better to work through the barriers facing Indians in sporting endeavors. Hating BCCI is our favorite national pastime, yet cricket's governing body in India has done a great job over the years in building infrastructure, rewarding merit and putting in place a system that works instead of the tamasha that goes on in, say, Hockey India or Boxing Federation of India. Money naturally follows excellence. Until we come out of this plausible deniability, like the Maharani of Muck, we shall forever limit ourselves to taking juvenile potshots at the athletes themselves who deserve our unflinching backing and respect for earning the right to even take a selfie at Olympics.